Curtis King versus Damien Keys.
You are doing everything yourself. It's a recipe for disaster. It should be LIY. Lead it yourself.
I think that something that got overlooked about this video is what Damien Keys does. Curtis King addressed that the DIY statement, or the do-it-yourself artist, has always kind of been an independent artist that was doing everything themselves.
I think that the term DIY artist has been around way before we decided DIY.
DIY is a very common term. Curtis King just kind of cornered the market on the use of the term, at least when it comes to YouTube and online producers. Curtis King and Damien Keys, that's going to be so hard not to do. They both are marketing towards two different groups, and I think that this is overlooked. I'm not just talking genre.
It should be LIY. Lead it yourself. You are in control, you are responsible, but you don't have to do everything.
Obviously, Curtis King is more focused on hip-hop and the producer community, whereas Damien Keys seems to be more focused on rock, specifically bands or groups. This creates a divide in the way that you're going to end up marketing these two things. So when it comes to music producers, especially online producers, the marketing isn't them going on tour. We're not going to be like going on tour with Eminem to, do what? Producers have always been behind the scenes. And Curtis King does a pretty good job of dividing his content between rappers that are actually going on tour, rappers who are bedroom rappers, and online producers that online produce. He will go into producers that have made some moves and done some different things, but for the most part, that's his market. And that's the people that watch him. And Damien Keys actually intersects with that audience, even though Damien Keys isn't really talking to those people at all, really. Also, isn't talking to rock bands that haven't started yet. He's talking to established rock bands that most likely have been touring around their city, performing at things like bars and things like that.
I don't want to make no assumptions about Damien Keys, but he kind of sounds like somebody ain't never been broke before. And maybe he has. You don't have a choice. Then when you try to reach out to people and you're still in your very early stages, those resources to lead it yourself don't present themselves.
Damien Keys' market, he's almost introducing these rock bands that are so used to interacting with people in person to the online space by helping them capitalize on things like TikTok and YouTube and things like that. But Curtis King, he's always kind of been in that same exact lane. He started in a lane of the more producer community, and then he started to go into the lane of hip-hop. Or it might be different because I think Curtis King rapped first, actually. I feel like a lot of us watch Damien Keys. I've watched Damien Keys for years. I'm obviously not in a band. I'm not going on tour around all of these different bars. I'm not trying to build a presence inside of a certain city. Damien Keys has never really been marketed toward me. I almost feel like as a consequence of the internet itself, you are going to receive a bunch of students that aren't really intended to be your students. In the case of Curtis King would actually give a lot of useful information to bands. Like if a rock band stumbled upon Curtis King that was trying to get going, they would probably get a lot of value out of his content, honestly, because a lot of his content can help anybody in the creative field. Whereas Damien Keys, he's getting a ton of bedroom producers, and then he's getting a lot of rappers that are also watching him. I think that there's a big mix-up between what all of these different creators do and who all of these different creators are actually made for. If you're getting any value whatsoever out of these videos, you can buy me a coffee. It's in the description. Or if you can't do that, that's fine. A subscribe would mean the world. So I thought that one thing that I could do was I could kind of go through each one of the different creators when it comes to helping you grow on music brand. Obviously, we've touched on Heat a lot. We haven't really done anything exclusive on people like Adam Ivy, Damien Keys, Curtis King. I mean, we touched on Busy Works Beats. These people are all aiming, though, for a different audience. And the audiences are in different stages of their music career. Everybody's almost lumped into this big box because even Curtis King himself, when he was talking about Damien Keys, he disagreed with some of Damien's points. But if he actually put himself in the mindset of Damien Keys, in the mindset of the audience, the predominant audience of Damien Keys, he would see that everything that Keys is saying actually makes perfect sense.